Hi, I'm Dr. Peters with Peters Wellness Chiropractic and Massage. This week's quick video, I just want to do a quick talk about why do I adjust my patients' extremities, meaning their wrists, their elbows, their shoulders, and just looking at the ankles and the knees. Why would be spending so much time away from the spine? And example that would be this last week I had a new patient come in, and the staff has them fill out their body chart, all their symptom information, so I can get all that data. They bring that to me, and I'm able to review that before I get together with the new patient. And I open up the chart and I look at it, and we've got this full body chart. You can see the whole front, the back, the sides, everything. And she's got one X on her body, and it's one X right here, right at the back of the skull. And I look at that and I'm thinking, okay, she's either got, headaches, she's either got neck pain, or both. She's got a few things going on. And then I open up to what does she say it is? And she's got headaches. I've got headaches. Okay, she's not complaining of neck pain, neck tightness, it's just like, I've got headaches. I'm like, okay. So I look the information over. I know how many kids she has. I know that she's married. I know all this data which she gives to me, which is awesome, because when I go out, we do the introductions. I go over everything that she's marked for me, and is there anything that I've missed? And she's like, no, I've got these headaches. And she shares with me that she doesn't even really want to be at my office. She doesn't have a desire to be there, but the headaches have just gotten to a point where she needs to do something. And at this point, a lot of times people have tried over-the-counter medications or their prescription medications, and something just isn't working. So if someone's been doing these things like, hey, I've been taking, whatever the over-counter they're taking, which we know there are side effects, but man, if you've got a pounding headache and you can't find resolution, we're gonna judge somebody for what they're doing to try to get rid of it. No, we're not. And we just wanna be there to help them. But knowing this data and this information, because she's given it to me, we go through and we do the 100 neurological tests that I do to see what's going on. Is it really just a headache issue? I mean, could there be, worst case scenario, some kind of space occupying lesion, because she doesn't normally have these? Or what else is going on? But I also know she's got a small baby at home. And if you have children, you know what that can be like. And she's got a number of other children also, who are all fairly young. And so I go through, I'm doing the test. I find an issue in her hip, her right hip. And I said, well, you notice how when we test her right hip versus the left hip, do you notice a difference? She's, oh my God, yeah, my right hip, it's weak. I don't have the ability to hold it like I should. I said, okay, so we make a note of that, right? We've circled all the tests that she fails. We noted those. And then we come up and we do, the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, the neck. We do all the tests. Well, she ends up failing 70% of the tests around her shoulder and only 30% of the tests in the neck. So you're looking at it saying, okay, well, she's got headaches, which could be going on for something in her head, worst case scenario, like a space occupying lesion or something like that, but we don't normally jump to that massive of a conclusion. We look at all the symptoms and make sure there isn't something really weird, any red flags going on. And then we check, and I start asking her, I said, do you notice the shoulder, what's going on in your shoulder? She goes, oh my God, yeah, my right shoulder, there's something going on. I don't have the strength. When I hold my baby, I notice that. So now we're looking at it and saying, does she really just have headaches? Or is it a cervicogenic headache? Or is there something going on in the shoulder? Because there are muscles that go from the base of the skull to your shoulder. One, the levator scapula. Levator, elevates the scapula by pulling here. So when it shortens up, it'll, you can either pull your head back or you could bring that up and do this. And if you have a shoulder problem that isn't addressed, you might adjust the neck a few times. Oh my God, I feel better. But then it comes back. It's not staying away. I don't understand it. Well, when we test her on the shoulder and the latissimus, you think of that pull-up muscle where you're grabbing the bar. That muscle isn't working. Her grip strength, there's just nothing there. So she has this shoulder issue and the area in the upper thoracic and neck area, all this coming together to cause headaches. So why do I bring all this up? Because if you have headaches, there can be, it could just be a dietary thing, right? But as a chiropractor, in my office, the first thing I'm gonna look for is a structural problem. right? We got the emotional side of things. I'm not a psychologist, but we got to be aware of it. It's like, hey, this person just lost their mother, or this person just got divorced, or this person just lost their job, or all three of those. There's an emotional component to that. But I'm going to look at the structure for it. And then the chemical side, what are they eating and things like that. Eating, a friend of mine, if he eats chocolate, he gets a severe migraine, and he knows it. So he doesn't eat chocolate. He doesn't get migraines. But there's something in the chocolate, and so he just knows to stay away from that. Well, if this young lady, if we don't help her with her shoulder, her headache, we might be a temporary relief, but when I come to a re-exam, again, so out of 100 tests, she failed 32%. Might have been, I'm pretty sure it was 32%, which means she passed 68%. I don't know you, if my kid comes home with a, hey dad, I got a 68%, I'm like, well, you might want to study next time, right? We need to do something, because that's a D in my book. And a D, at least when I went to school, that's not a passing grade, right? A D is a do-over. You need to do it over because you weren't ready for it the first time. And there are so many things. Now that we know she really has an underlying shoulder issue, what's the first thing I'm going to recommend? If you're my patient, you already know, foam roller, baby. You got to get on the foam roller. Latissimus dorsi coming all the way up. She's got to roll. She's got to open up the pec major sternal and the pec major clavicular. She's got to roll on the insertion point of the sits, or the rotator cuff. The sits muscles is that acronym. She's got to roll those out. When you get on people with that, they're coming in for here, and you touch a couple of points, and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that hurt like that. And it's like, well, that's why you're here, so we can help get to the bottom of what's going on. And I've said to patients where, if you're just looking for a Band-Aid, you can go down to the market and buy Band-Aid brand Band-Aids. But we want to help do more than that. And we want to help teach people. Remember, doctor means teacher, educator. Helping people help themselves. So if you look at it, she starts the foam roller, she's going to get better faster. Because at re-exam, when we get to her re-exam, if she failed 32 on the initial, she should fail 16 or less. That's a 50% improvement. And for someone like that, she gets 6 to 8 visits in, she is going to be feeling so much better. And if she isn't, we better look closer. We better make sure we're not missing something. But when you have 95% of the people are getting better, you probably don't need to order an MRI or a CT scan for every headache that comes in, right? We don't need to do that. But if someone's not responding the way they should, we have all those tests available to us. So if you're having headaches, think about your whole function. You know what I mean? And that's why exercising is so good, because let's say if you do handstand push-ups or something 2 or 3 times a week as a part of a regular exercise routine, one day you get up and you're like, dude, something's going on with my shoulder. And then you have a headache 2 or 3 days later, like, man, I got a headache now. Well, now you might be able to say, well, you know what, my shoulder is bothering, I think there's something going on, better go get it adjusted. So looking at that and looking at your whole system. So getting the extremities adjusted can be so important. And I mean, imagine if you had a history of jamming your ankle and that talar joint in there isn't moving well. Getting that adjusted, when people get that cleared out and they're like, oh my God, that feels so good. And I know how much I've helped them, because a lot of these things, you clear them out, I mean, the body's amazing. Once you've gotten that roadblock out of there, and it can continue to heal, and then you can prosper and feel so much better. So if you have any comments, please leave them below, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. Let me know. I'd love to talk more. I love extremities. I freaking love them, and I want to be able to help you or your family and friends deal with their issues and actually getting to that underlying cause of it. And if it isn't a chiropractic issue, then I can refer them out, and they can go see a surgeon, orthopedist, neurologist, whatever it might be, so that we can get them to where they need to be and to feel good and to focus on what's truly important. All right, have a great week.